So before I start this video, I did want to say that it's perfectly normal to feel overwhelmed when you're a new mum. I think it's especially okay to feel overwhelmed at the realisation that it's maybe not all as easy as you thought it might be. And it's fine to feel completely out of your depths. So we have just kind of graduated out of the 2 under 2 group. Elizabeth turned 2 a few weeks ago. I just thought it was a perfect time to give my experiences, what I've learned and what I wish I had known before having 2 under 2. First thing is not to put yourself under pressure to have a routine from day 1, not even week 1, not even probably month 1. Just roll with it. Even though at the beginning it can feel like you're never going to get back any normality, and it may feel like having a routine will keep your toddler happy, which, yes, a simple structure to the day will help to keep them happy. So making sure dinners and meals are at the same time and making sure bedtimes are at the same time. Simple things like that, yes, I think are quite important, but the rest can wait. And unfortunately, even if you don't want it to wait, it will have to wait, because babies don't do what we want them to do when we want them to do it. Stressing about having it right from the beginning isn't going to change the fact that they will feed when they want to feed, they're going to sleep when they want to sleep, and it's not going to fit in with your plans or your toddler's plans. But yeah, I'd definitely wait until you start to get a bit more comfortable with lack of sleep. Then you can try and get into a bit of a routine. Before that, just try to ignore that niggle in the back of your head that you need to be in some kind of strict routine. The second thing I wish I'd known is that leaving the house becomes a military mission, and I'm not even exaggerating on that. Now that we have a 6-month-old and now that Elizabeth's 2, it's become easier. We've maybe just got used to leaving the house. But when I say in those early days it used to take 2 hours to leave the house, I'm not even joking. Like, think back to when you had your first newborn and you would pack a bag that with a million things that you didn't even need, and then the baby would need a feed just before you leave, and then you'd maybe need to change a nappy. Think that, but think 3 times that. Like, oh. So there's different kinds of trips out, but let's say, for example, like a car trip. If I'm on my own in the morning, so firstly I need to pack a bag. So once the bag is packed, I then need to get both kids dressed, and that obviously means changing both their bums. I then will usually need to feed Penelope just before we leave, just to keep her topped up. I then need to pack Penelope into her car seat in the house. Once Penelope's in the car seat, I need to get Elizabeth's shoes on whilst making sure Penelope's still happy. I then need to get the bag onto my back. I need to have Elizabeth's hand in one hand. I then need to have Penelope in her car seat on my other arm. And we need to walk to the car. Once we get to the car, I need to put Penelope down whilst I pick Elizabeth up, because I can't just let go of her hand whilst I put Penelope in. So I then need to wrestle Elizabeth into her car seat, and I pop round the other side and strap Penelope's car seat in. Then we're usually pretty ready to go, unless we're going somewhere that requires me to have the pram. So I then have to try and get the pram into the car on my own again, obviously, which it depends on the pram you've got, but ours comes apart into 3. I was wrong. So we've got the frame, the seat and the carry cot, which I have to try and wrangle the frame and seat into the boot, and then the carry cot goes behind their car seats. I also bribe Elizabeth into the car seat with her snacks, so that's a good one too. So the third thing I wish I'd known is how much anxiety I would get going to baby play groups. I never really went to many when I had Elizabeth. We went to some swimming lessons eventually, but apart from that I just kind of kept to myself, and I was happy to do that. But once my maternity leave started with Penelope, I kind of went off about a month before she was due. And during that time I decided to go to some playgroups. I thought when I had 2 kids it would maybe be a bit more useful to have some mummy friends, and to get myself out of the house. And it was also some time when Elizabeth would be able to blow off some steam. So we went to all these groups and it was great, and I made some friends and it was really nice, and I was like, this is great once Penelope's here. But once Penelope arrived, we went to a few in the first few weeks, and I just had this overwhelming feeling of anxiety. Elizabeth was at like a wobbly walking stage, so when we were at like young baby play groups, there were babies on the floor and she would be wobbling around, and I'd be petrified she was going to fall on someone's baby and I wouldn't be able to kind of grab her because I'd be sat with Penelope, and it was a scary feeling of I wasn't able to be in two places at once to look after both of them. And obviously the mums there would help, but as a mum, I think you've got that in the back of your head that it needs to be all down to you. And there were other play groups where there were like multiple rooms, and I just had this feeling that she was going to run off, and because I was carrying a baby I wouldn't be able to keep up with her. Are you talking? Are you talking? You talk to the camera. And I don't know, I just had this like feeling like she was going to start snatching toys from the children, and she's not even like that. She's quite a calm, caring toddler. But I think mum nerves and mum anxieties are such a real thing, and I think we all get them, and they just kind of manifest in such weird ways that I was getting scared about things that probably weren't going to happen. So those nerves and anxieties were really blown out of proportion, and I think this lockdown for me has been a bit of a blessing in disguise, because now that I've been forced to sit in the house and not even see my regular friends, I can't actually wait to get back to these playgroups now. The fourth thing I'd wish I'd known is that screen time is okay. Like, I wish I'd known this way before I finally realised it. I remember being at a point where I would panic if she'd had more than like 20 minutes in front of the TV. I'd read things online that would make me think I was a terrible parent and I was making the TV do the parenting for me, and that's just, it's not the truth. And when I think about it, I leave the TV on in the background for myself, so it just makes me a hypocrite. I do keep it in moderation, obviously. I don't keep it on her programmes all day. I found that if the TV's been on for too long, she then wants the TV to entertain her as well as me. So I only give her certain times to watch it, and then at other times of the day we're doing different activities. But when I do actually stick the TV on for her in those certain times, it gives me that valuable time to kind of start dinner or do some tidying up. And I always think there's good or bad choices when it comes to what they're watching as well. So there's really good stuff out there that she's been starting to learn her colours from. She's starting to learn her shapes and letters and numbers. Like, I've genuinely seen such an improvement in her learning. The fifth thing I wish I had known is that tantrums are hard. 2-year-olds are hard. I remember Elizabeth having her first like meltdowns when she was like 18 months old and thinking, oh my god, she started the terrible twos early. Boy was I wrong. They were sweet little angry moments, I can assure you. And I mean literally overnight on her second birthday, her sass level soared to like 99%. Hello. But obviously those meltdowns, those tantrums are far more difficult to deal with when you do have a second child, when you have a newborn to deal with. Obviously toddlers don't understand why there's a newborn in the house that needs your attention. They don't understand that the newborn needs your attention. They don't understand why things that are going on in their head isn't the only thing going on in everyone's head. And they don't understand that you can't split into two different people and deal with two different things at the same time, always. And most of the time at their age, it's really difficult to actually even explain that to them as well. We were really lucky. Elizabeth hasn't shown that much jealousy towards Penelope just yet. But what I have noticed is now that she has these proper tantrums, she knows that by directing her tantrums towards Penelope, it will get my attention. I'm still learning which techniques will work with tantrums, so one of my techniques has been to kind of just ignore the behaviour, obviously in the hope that she'll realise acting in a certain way isn't going to get the attention that she needs. So in her head, she will do anything to get some kind of reaction. So if she's throwing herself on the floor and kicking her legs, she'll kind of start to direct her legs towards Penelope because she knows that that will get my attention, because obviously I don't want Penelope to get hurt. Her intention's not to hurt Penelope, it's just to get the reaction from me. And I know people always tell you that there's the terrible twos, but I feel like they always laugh it off and just kind of go, oh, it's, yeah, wait till the terrible twos. But until it's actually you dealing with it, especially when you're out in public. It's not until then that you actually realise, because you're worried about judgment and you're worried everyone's looking at you and thinking, like, oh my god, she can't deal with her kids. But you just have to take a step back and have a breathe and just remember that everyone that's had kids will have gone through this at some point. The sixth and last thing that I wish I'd known is that there are good days and there are bad days, and it's no use pretending that you don't have bad days. I can literally wake up one day and I will have the best day. Everything will go great. We'll do so many activities, we'll all be laughing all day, and everything that I want to do and get done that day gets done, and I will be on cloud 9 and it will have been amazing. And then the next day I can wake up and just have this horrible pit in my stomach, or not even that. Sometimes I'll wake up in that same fantastic mood thinking, oh, it's going to be another great day, but so quickly we can get downstairs and if both kids are screaming at me or I'm trying to do something and it's not going right and both kids are needing my attention at the same time, and sometimes that sets the tone for the rest of the day and everything just seems to go wrong and you can't seem to get anything done, and the things you wanted to get done you can't do, and that's really frustrating when I'm trying to sort out one and the other one's screaming at me, and I try and sort out that one and then the other one starts screaming, and it can be so overwhelming. You can honestly start to feel like you can't do it anymore. There have been days when I think, what the hell have I done? I'm in over my depths. There'll be days when I'll try and leave the house on time to get to an appointment or something, and we end up leaving the house with half-packed bags, and newborns can cry for no reason, and now I've found out toddlers can also have meltdowns for no reason. But I remember thinking in those initial days that it must just be me, like I just must be a crappy mum that can't deal with it. But the more mums I've spoken to, the more I realise that that is just normal. It's completely normal to have your bad days and your good days. Obviously, those bad days are still not enjoyable, but I just kind of let them ride out, and instead of letting it get worse and worse in my head thinking I'm a crappy mum and I can't deal with it and I must just not be able to cope, I now have the ability to just kind of put it to the back of my mind. We just get done what we need to get done those days, rather than having this unrealistic idea of all these things that I want to get done. They can wait till whenever we're next able to do them, and just get the bare minimum done, make sure we're all fed, we're all happy. And that's okay, because the good days more than make up for all the bad days. We genuinely, as a family, have so much fun. Like on an evening when we're all laughing at each other, like belly laughing at each other, and the pride you feel when one of them learns something new. But when we're all together and we're all having the biggest belly laughs and fits of giggles as a family, it's the warmest, the coziest feeling I've ever felt. It's lovely.